When the left-hander found me, I was sitting in my usual chair in front of the fire, trying to stay warm. The calendar said April, but April in paradise is still cold enough to hurt you, and I could feel the sting of it in my hands and on my face. I sat there by the fire, watching the baseball game on the television over the bar, nursing a cold Canadian beer as the left-hander made his way in the darkness. He knew where he was going because he had a hand-drawn map in his back pocket, with a little star on the right side of the road as you come north into Paradise. The Glasgow Inn, that was his destination. He knew I'd be there. On a cold Tuesday night in April, where else would I be? His trip had begun early that morning in Los Angeles. He boarded a 747 and flew to Detroit Metropolitan Airport. He had to wait 2 hours there, and he had already lost 3 hours in the time change. So the sun was going down when he finally got on the little two-propeller plane with 12 passengers, a pilot, and a co-pilot who doubled as the flight attendant. That plane took him first to Alpena, where he sat on the runway for a half hour while half the passengers got off. The co-pilot got out and sprayed the ice off the wings, and then they were in the air again. The plane was noisy and cold, and it bounced around in the wind like a paper kite. It was after 11 o'clock at night when they finally touched down at Chippewa County Airport. There are only 2 flights per day that land there, 2 little airplanes like the one the left-hander was on that night. The funny thing is that those little airplanes land on a runway that's over 2.5 miles long. It's one of the longest runways in the country, long enough to be on the space shuttle's emergency backup list. The left-hander asked one of the other passengers why the runway was so long, because that's the kind of thing the left-hander does. He asks strangers questions, as if he'd known them his whole life, and they always answer him, because he has this way of making them feel at ease. "This used to be an Air Force base, eh?" the stranger said. He was a local man from the Upper Peninsula, so he had that Yooper rise in his voice. "Kinchlow Air Force Base, back in World War II. Did you know the Sioux Locks were the most heavily defended position in America back then? I guess they figured if the Japs or Germans were going to bomb us, they'd start at the locks and cut off our ore supply." "That's interesting," the left-hander said. I'm sure he said it in a way that made the stranger feel that it really was interesting, and that therefore the stranger must be an interesting man himself. That's the kind of thing the left-hander can do, with just 2 words. The airport terminal itself is a one-room hut sitting next to that long runway.